back to the channel. Today we're going to unravel some incredibly complex events in Genoa. Rumors are circulating around the Newman family, but what's the truth? In this video, I'll summarize the plot points that will be revealed in the next episode. Stay tuned to see what happens. Welcome back to our channel, your ultimate source for all the explosive drama in Genoa City. Today is a fantastic day to dive deep into the twisted minds of our favorite characters. We have some truly jaw-dropping updates to discuss, so grab your favorite drink, settle in, and let us unpack the madness that is about to unfold. Do not forget to like and subscribe for more thrilling content. The atmosphere in the Abbott mansion has never been thicker, suffocating under the heavy weight of Diane Jenkins Abbott's terrifying disappearance. Jack Abbott, a man who has weathered countless corporate storms and personal tragedies, is currently unraveling at the seams. His beloved wife is being held captive in the heavily fortified, nightmarish residence of Dr. Lawrence Markham, a sadistic psychiatrist who has turned Diane into his personal psychological plaything. Jack's desperation has reached a fever pitch. He is a man pushed to the absolute brink, willing to sacrifice his morals, his safety, and his very soul to bring Diane home. The once confident patriarch now paces the floors of his ancestral home, haunted by the thought of Diane suffering at the hands of a madman. Every ticking second feels like a lifetime, and Jack knows that brute force alone will not breach Markham's defenses. He needs a calculated, cunning strategy, but his path is blocked by the most unpredictable and dangerous obstacle imaginable. That insurmountable obstacle is none other than Patty Williams, a woman whose historical obsession with Jack Abbott has left a trail of blood, tears, and unimaginable trauma in its wake. Patty is not merely a nuisance. She is a deeply unstable, highly dangerous wild card who has previously shot Jack and whose past actions directly led to the tragic drowning of Colleen Abbott. Jack is acutely aware that as long as Patty is in the picture, inserting herself into the narrative and acting as a chaotic variable, he cannot execute a clean rescue mission for Diane. Patty's delusions have convinced her that Diane is out of the picture and that she and Jack are destined to be together. Jack realizes that to get to Dr. Markham's house, he must first completely neutralize Patty. He must sideline her, trap her in her own delusions, and remove her from the chessboard so he can finally save his wife. Driven by this frantic necessity, Jack pulls his son, Kyle Abbott, into the shadows of the Abbott mansion to formulate a daring and highly unethical plan. The father and son duo, bonded by their mutual terror for Diane's safety, begin to map out a psychological trap designed specifically for Patty. Jack's strategy is cold and calculated. He intends to lure Patty into a false sense of security, feeding her delusions of a grand romantic reunion, only to spring a trap that will incapacitate her or have her institutionalized once again. Kyle, though initially hesitant about playing such a dangerous game with a woman as volatile as Patty, agrees to help his father. They meticulously discuss the details, outlining exactly what Jack will say, where he will lead her, and how they will execute the final blow to her freedom. It is a desperate measure for desperate times, and Jack believes they are operating in total secrecy within the secure walls of their own home. But that's not all. Jack and Kyle severely underestimated the sheer predatory cunning of Patty Williams. While the Abbott men whispered their conspiratorial plans behind closed doors, they were completely oblivious to the fact that the walls of the Abbott mansion have ears. Patty, operating with the stealth of a seasoned predator, had been lurking in the shadows, her ear pressed to the door, listening to every single agonizing detail of Jack's treacherous plot. She did not just listen, she recorded it. With her smartphone clutched in her trembling hands, Patty captured the chilling audio of the man she claims to love, plotting her ultimate downfall. The recording caught Jack's cold, calculating tone as he discussed manipulating her mental illness and locking her away. It is a devastating piece of evidence, a digital weapon of mass destruction that Patty now holds firmly in her grasp, ready to detonate at the perfect moment. Ignorant of the catastrophic breach in his security, Jack proceeds to set his trap into motion. He approaches Patty with a manufactured smile, his eyes masking the deep revulsion he feels for the woman standing before him. He speaks to her in soft, soothing tones, offering the validation and romantic hope she has been desperately craving. Jack plays the role of the conflicted lover perfectly, suggesting that perhaps they do have a future together now that Diane is out of the picture. He tries to maneuver Patty into the specific location they had discussed, preparing to drop the net. Jack's heart pounds in his chest, believing that he is mere moments away from eliminating the Patty Williams threat and clearing the path to Dr. Lawrence Markham's fortified house. He thinks he is the master manipulator, the puppet master pulling the strings of a broken woman. Nobody expected that. Instead of falling blindly into Jack's carefully constructed snare, Patty would execute a counterattack so brilliant and devastating that it would leave the entire Abbott family paralyzed. Just as Jack prepares to spring his trap, Patty's demeanor shifts entirely. The doe-eyed, delusional vulnerability vanishes, replaced by a chilling, razor-sharp clarity. She does not scream, she does not become violent, and she does not exhibit the erratic behavior that everyone expects from her. Instead, she looks Jack dead in the eye with a terrifying calmness and smiles, a smile that sends shivers down his spine. Patty reveals that she knows exactly what he is doing. She doesn't just confront Jack privately. She orchestrates a grand public unmasking right in the center of the Abbott living room, ensuring that she has the perfect audience for her masterpiece of revenge. With Kyle and a deeply fragile Tracy Abbott present in the room, Patty dramatically pulls out her phone and hits play. The crystal clear audio recording of Jack and Kyle's secret plotting echoes through the silent mansion. Every cold, manipulative word Jack spoke about exploiting Patty's mental health, every tactical detail about trapping her and locking her away rings out for his family to hear. The shock in the room is palpable, thick enough to cut with a knife. Kyle's eyes widen in absolute horror as he realizes their darkest secrets have been exposed, while Tracy, who has been battling her own violent, vengeful fantasies about Patty, gasps in disbelief. The recording paints Jack not as a desperate husband trying to save his wife, but as a cruel, heartless manipulator willing to psychologically torture a mentally ill woman to achieve his goals. What's even scarier is the masterful, twisted spin Patty puts on the narrative immediately after the recording ends. She doesn't just present the evidence. She weaponizes it with a performance worthy of an Oscar. Patty bursts into tears, her body trembling as she plays the ultimate victim. She turns to Kyle and Tracy, her voice cracking with manufactured heartbreak, and asks how Jack could be so monstrous. But her manipulation goes much deeper. Patty begins to plant toxic seeds of doubt, suggesting that Jack's trap wasn't just about neutralizing her, but that Jack is actively trying to harm her because she knows the truth. She twists the narrative to imply that Jack might actually be the one keeping Diane away, that his aggressive behavior is a smokescreen for his own dark agenda. She frames Jack's desperate rescue plan as a sinister plot to hurt a recovering woman who only wanted to help. The immediate fallout within the Abbott family is nothing short of catastrophic. Kyle, who had been his father's steadfast co-conspirator, is suddenly thrust into a state of profound confusion and guilt. Hearing his own voice on that recording, colluding in such a dark scheme, fills him with shame. But more importantly, Patty's manipulative spin makes Kyle question his father's judgment. Jack's actions, stripped of their context and presented through Patty's victimhood, look undeniably villainous. Kyle is torn between his innate loyalty to his father and the horrifying reality of the audio evidence. He begins to wonder if Jack's grief and panic over Diane have driven him completely insane, causing him to become the very monster they are trying to fight. Kyle's hesitation is a devastating blow to Jack, who desperately needs his son's unwavering support. For Tracy Abbott, the revelation is a psychological earthquake. Tracy has been the moral compass of the family, yet she has recently been tormented by her own dark dreams of strangling Patty to avenge Colleen's death. Hearing Jack actually plot to destroy Patty triggers a massive emotional crisis for Tracy. On one hand, she fears Patty more than anyone, but on the other hand, Tracy's deep-seated morality is repulsed by Jack's cold-blooded tactics. Patty brilliantly exploits Tracy's empathy, sobbing and pleading for understanding. Tracy, despite her historical hatred, cannot ignore the cruelty of Jack's recorded words. The trust she has always placed in her brother begins to fracture. Patty's manipulation successfully creates a wedge between Jack and the sister, who has always been his greatest defender, leaving Jack increasingly isolated in his own home. Jack's attempts to defend himself are completely drowned out by Patty's theatrical sobbing and the damning reality of the tape. He frantically tries to explain to Kyle and Tracy that it was a necessary evil, a tactical maneuver required to clear the path to Dr. Markham's house and save Diane. But his justifications sound hollow and frantic against the backdrop of Patty's calculated victimhood. Every time Jack raises his voice, Patty flinches, further cementing her role as the abused victim and Jack as the terrifying aggressor. The tables have been turned with such violent force that Jack finds himself entirely on the defensive. He is no longer the heroic husband planning a rescue. He is the disgraced patriarch caught in a web of his own deceit, desperately trying to convince his family that he hasn't lost his mind. The implications of this catastrophic failure are dire, particularly for Diane Jenkins Abbott, who remains trapped in Dr. Markham's basement. With Jack's credibility destroyed and his family actively questioning his mental state, the rescue mission is effectively paralyzed. Kyle is too consumed by guilt and doubt to proceed, and Tracy is emotionally shattered. Patty's brilliant manipulation has not only protected her own position, but has indirectly secured Markham's victory. By neutralizing Jack through character assassination, Patty has ensured that no one is coming for Diane anytime soon. The sheer evil genius of Patty's plan is that she didn't have to lift a finger to physically stop Jack. She simply used his own desperation against him, allowing his own family to become the bars of his newly constructed psychological prison. Jack Abbott now faces an agonizing, suffocating isolation. He is a king dethroned in his own castle, surrounded by family members who look at him with suspicion and pity rather than respect and loyalty. The psychological toll of being painted as the villain while his wife suffers unimaginable horrors is pushing Jack to the very edge of his sanity. He knows the truth. He knows Patty is a venomous snake playing a deadly game, but he has zero leverage left to prove it. The recording is an undeniable fact, and Patty's tears have washed away his authority. Jack is trapped, outsmarted by his greatest nightmare, forced to watch helplessly as Patty roams the halls of the Abbott mansion, soaking up the sympathy of the people Jack loves most. It is a master class in psychological warfare, and Jack has suffered a total, humiliating defeat. As this explosive chapter closes, the Genoa City landscape is forever altered. Patty Williams has proven that her madness is matched only by her terrifying brilliance, flipping a deadly trap into her ultimate triumph. With Jack alienated and Diane running out of time, the stakes have never been higher. Will Jack find a way to break through Patty's web of lies and win back his family's trust before Dr. Markham does the unthinkable to Diane? Or has Patty finally achieved her ultimate endgame, destroying Jack's life from the inside out? Here is our controversial prediction. Driven to absolute madness by his isolation, Jack Abbott will be forced to team up with the one person he hates as much as Patty Victor Newman. Only the ruthless tactics of the mustache can outplay Patty's psychotic genius, setting the stage for the most unholy alliance in Genoa City history. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.